It's another great day, baby, and you know what that means. It's One Wellness Nerd Out time! What's going on, guys? Happy One Wellness Nerd Out time, and today we're going to nerd out about pantothenic acid, so also called vitamin B5. You know, what is pantothenic acid? Well, first let's start by saying that pantothenic acid, the origin of the word, comes from the Greek word pantothene, and pantothene means from all quarters. So it's no surprise there that we get pantothenic acid from a wide range of different foods, at least healthy ones, in the diet. And so usually it is not necessary to supplement with much, if really at all, B5, aka pantothenic acid. All right? Especially in first world countries. Now this is different for people with certain disorders and diseases and things like that, or again, people in third world countries that don't have the same food sources available to them as we are fortunate enough to have. But without further ado, let's get into some of the functions here and some of the benefits of pantothenic acid. Well, one interesting thing that pantothenic acid is involved with is energy metabolism. And when we talk about cellular energy metabolism, the way that pantothenic acid is involved is that it's critical for the formation of coenzyme A. And coenzyme A has a wide range of metabolic functions. It has a wide range of different functions throughout the body, but one great example that we can mention here is acetyl coenzyme A, or acetyl-CoA. And we know that acetyl-CoA, which I'm sure you've heard of, especially if you've been listening to One Wellness for a little while, is involved in cellular respiration, right? So if you remember in our discussions how we talked about pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA by pyruvate dehydrogenase, and then acetyl-CoA can combine with oxaloacetate, go through the Krebs cycle, electron transport chain, right? You get the byproducts going through it, yada, yada, yada. Point is, an energy producing pathway. And so it's no surprise that if pantothenic acid is critical for the formation of coenzyme A, that again, it's highly involved in the regulation and the normal functioning of cellular energy metabolism. And this goes for the interconversion of carbs, of fats, of proteins, right? All our macronutrients, right? They're all our macromolecules. And, you know, it's not only involved in the energy production, but it can go back up the other way in the synthesis, so, you know, of these macromolecules. So what's a big takeaway we could get from that? Well, if it contributes to cellular respiration, and hence it contributes to beta oxidation as well. It's in the mitochondria, right? Having that function is coenzyme A or acetyl-CoA. Well, it'll help you burn fat. So boom, baby. Hey, who don't love that, right? That's right. So, and thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to see you in a second here. Thank you so much for hopping on. I hope you get something out of this. Now, on top of that, pantothenic acid is highly involved in the production of a few other very important things. One of them is melatonin. Another is acetylcholine, our learning neurotransmitter, also involved in muscular contraction. All right, as we had recently talked about as well. And we know melatonin is just involved in sleep, right? Everybody pretty much knows that. But another very interesting thing that pantothenic acid is involved in the production of is cortisol. Well, you're like, cortisol, no bueno, stress hormone, right? Cortisol is the stress hormone, aka, you know, it can promote the production of more fat, weight gain. We don't want that, right? Well, excessive amounts of cortisol are bad, but too little of anything isn't a good thing. Right? Just like too much of anything isn't a good thing. And so if we don't have the necessary precursors, these things that help us to produce cortisol, well, what's the major issue? Well, the major issue is a deleterious or adverse, harmful effect on kidney functioning. Cortisol is vital for normal kidney functioning. And so people that have renal fatigue, right? Renal, we just mean, kidney, right? So when we have, renal or kidney fatigue, which is just a general term for, again, with general symptoms in people that have kidney issues such as fatigue, sleep disturbance, nervousness, digestive issues, body aches, all sorts of things like that. Well, this patient demographic would need to supplement with a little bit more B5 than the average person to ensure that they are getting the proper amount of cortisol to maintain normal kidney function. All right, so that's another interesting thing about B5, all right, or pantothenic acid. So when we talk about the dosage, we're moving right into the dosage and food sources because we're going to devote a whole discussion tomorrow. We don't want to have too much at once here. A whole discussion tomorrow about B5 deficiency and the different ways that can happen with different disorders and, you know, all the different effects of it and things like that. All right? But when we talk about the dosage, people, you got 5 milligrams per day being the RDA, or recommended dietary allowance, in males and females alike, 19 years of age and older. So again, men and women above the age of 18 should be getting about 5 milligrams of pantothenic acid a day, or B5, right? Now, you know, some sources differ. Some sources, that's only a few. Some say there really is no RDA for B5, as, you know, what do we say was the root of the name? Pantothene, right? If it's found all over the place, right, usually you probably don't need to supplement with it. Yeah, that's true, right? Except in exceptional cases, which again, you know, we'll get into more tomorrow. But those sources that say that we don't really have an RDA or need it, you know, a recommended dietary allowance, for pantothenic acid, well, they say that there's an adequate intake, and, you know, it's around that 5 milligram range as well. So maybe a little bit less. But as for a few other sources, we're talking about that RDA just to be totally safe that we're getting enough, and it's not going to be anywhere near an excessive amount. Again, 5 milligrams, men and women above 18. It is 6 milligrams in pregnant women is the RDA for pantothenic acid, and 7 milligrams per day for lactating women. All right? So when we talk about the food sources, what do we got? Well, I got one great one cooking right now, and that's salmon. Aside from that, other fish, snapper, tuna, trout. Now, I got excited about salmon because I'm about to eat some really good salmon. I make a good salmon. Come try it one time if you want to. You're invited to my dinner party. But if you're cool. But top the table just about, are mushrooms, and in particular shiitake mushrooms, have 5.2 milligrams of B5 per serving. And we said that RDA for men and women above 18 is 5 milligrams. So bada bing, bada boom. One serving of shiitake mushrooms will get you there, and then a little bit some more, right? So that's pretty great. If you like shiitake mushrooms, you're going to get your B5 at no problem, that's for sure. On top of that, other mushrooms, obviously, just shiitake are the highest. And we got avocados, we got sweet potatoes, we have lentils, we have lean chicken breast, lean pork chops, chicken thighs, chicken drumsticks, and we have beef such as skirt steak being among the highest for beef. So there are a few food sources for you. Again, there are a lot. Remember the origin of pantothene, right? So found in all quarters. And again, it's no surprise that we get it from a bunch of good stuff, baby. Who do we got today? The Majesty. How you doing? Thanks for hopping on. Patriot Fitness. C. Frivola. Messiahs. How you doing? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Gino. What's up, my brother? And Natty Girl. Whoop, whoop. What's up, baby doll? Co-founder and CEO of When Wellness out there. My sister Natalie, who I love very, 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 very much. Love you so much. Hey, this one's for you because guess what? We don't got any birthdays today, so I'm happy to dedicate it to you. Enjoy the rest of your night, you guys. Thank you so much, everybody else as well. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow, people, for another great discussion about B5 and what can happen with deficiency and things like that. We'll talk to you then, guys. Thank you.